Hello, everyone. We're back on the episode 4 of Galaxy Podcast Season 1. So we have our co-host Ehab.
What's up, everyone?
No flu this time.
No flu. Welcome to episode 4.
Yeah. We're happy that we've already done like 3 episodes now.
Yeah, hard work.
Yeah, it's been a while, and then
Less nervous though.
Yeah, learning a lot of stuff on the way. And then we have our guest of today's episode, Ashley.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
It's good for being here.
Yeah, thank you for accepting our invitation. And then why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Well, my name is Ashley. Originally born in Cape Town, South Africa. I married a Mongolian girl about 13 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
then,
a long time.
Yeah, and then we moved to Mongolia 2.5 years ago, and we do a full-time YouTube channel called Simple Wild Living here in Mongolia.
Ah, full-time wild living.
Yeah, Simple Wild Living.
Simple wild living.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like, so you already been experienced on the YouTube and everything, because we are new to this one right now at the moment.
I've picked up a few things along the way, but still, you're learning all the time. So you just try to get better and better with every episode that you make, every video you make.
Ashley, sorry to cut you. That's
No
quite
worries.
interesting. 13 years with your wife.
Yeah.
Tell us the story. Like, how did you guys meet, and how did meeting a Mongolian person and falling in love, getting married? That story. I want to hear that story first.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I was from Cape Town, and I grew up in that age where I kind of saw the end of apartheid and the beginning of the changes there.
Yeah.
And it was very popular for people to go overseas and earn some money and do something different.
Yeah.
So I decided to move to England, and I lived there for 2 years.
In the UK, I think they had a program for like a 2-year work visa or something like that. Is that-
Exactly, but that was very interesting because in South Africa it was kind of like Mongolia where the salaries are very, very low.
Yeah.
So to buy a plane ticket return to England was pretty much 6 months' salary.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So because luckily enough, my father was born in England, so I had a British passport, so I
Yeah.
didn't need to have a return flight
Yeah.
ticket, and I didn't need to have a job when I get there, and I didn't need to have a certain amount of money in my account.
Oh, nice.
So I decided, okay, let's pack up, let's do something different. I was 21, moved to England, one-way ticket, no place to stay, no job. It was tough times.
Yeah.
But I figured something out, got some job there, and lived in the UK for 2 years. And I was offered a very nice, lucrative job as a chef in Sweden.
Okay.
Oh, you were a chef.
I was a chef, yeah.
Oh.
So
Are you were a chef, or you still are a chef?
I'm not working full-time as a chef anymore.
well, it doesn't go away once you have the skill, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
and
Well,
then- but I want to know, like, if he's still doing anything with it, or
Well, we do
just
some
quit.
stuff on our YouTube channel, so that's kind of when we talk into that, we'll kind of disclose how we kind of set it all up.
Yeah.
But so moved to Sweden, so I've been working as a chef for 25 years in my career.
Wow.
So yeah, and then because I was in the hotel industry, I met my wife through there. We started dating, and we got together. So
That was in England,
that was in Sweden.
in Sweden.
Yeah.
So you've been, before you coming to Mongolia, you've been to England, you've been to Sweden,
Yeah.
and where else?
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Besides traveling, of course.
So this is our question that we always ask from the guests. So why Mongolia?
Why Mongolia?
Yeah.
Well, Mongolia, I mean, I've been traveling here on and off for the last 13 years since I met my wife. She has a really fantastic family. You know, Mongolia and South Africa have a lot of similarities. When you're driving through Cape Town or South Africa, you can kind of see Mongolia. So, and the characteristics are very similar. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of, especially traveling to Cape Town. I remember the mountains, the steps, kind of like a step type of
yeah, exactly.
green
really?
grass. Yeah, it's really beautiful there.
So when I moved to Sweden for the very first time, I moved into a place where I couldn't understand the language. I couldn't speak the language. It took time to learn Swedish. So coming to Mongolia, there was these like
Familiar.
Familiar experience.
familiar experience. Plus, I didn't speak the language, so it wasn't like a culture shock. So it was something nice. And then her family were great. So we decided, like, why don't we kind of try it out? So we planned it for quite some time. We decided that we kind of want to build our own house here. So we bought land a couple of years ago, and the plan was to build. And then we my wife and I got pregnant with our son,
Oh.
Flame, who is nearly 3 years old now.
Mm.
So
And is Flame Swedish influence or South African or a Mongolian name influence?
Yeah, that's interesting there, by the way.
yeah, I mean, he looks Swedish,
Uh-huh.
but with a little bit of Mongolian look to him.
Mhm.
So he speaks both languages already.
Oh,
So
wow.
he speaks
That's
English
great.
and Mongolian. So, yeah.
Nice, nice,
So,
nice.
what did you do with the name? That was the question.
His name, Flame.
Yeah.
Flame.
Yeah, that was
Ah.
his name is Flame. So something a little bit different.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's
Do you-
like
do
it's
you
a
know
very
the-
Viking name.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
Scandinavian
Do you
name.
know the translation of the flame in Mongolian?
No,
It's Dul.
Dul.
Yeah, it can be a Mongolian name.
Mm.
Yeah, it can be a really good name actually.
He's got a middle name, Tilmik.
Tilvik.
Yeah,
Ah, so the middle name is Mongolian, is it?
the middle name is Mongolian.
Nice.
Ah, wow, nice. Usually, as you know, Mongolia doesn't have a middle name.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
So I also really wanted to know, like, you know, because both of you are from a culture that uses middle names, right?
Yeah.
Even you, right?
Arabic,
From your originated
Arabic-
place, maybe
Arabic-
not.
Arabic culture doesn't use middle name. What they
But
do
from
is
the-
they take the father's name, grandfather's name, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Ihab. My father's name is Abdulaziz.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather's name is Al Tayyib, and I can go on and on and on.
Mm-hmm. But then, like, I really wanted to know and understand that what was the purpose of having a middle name?
Well, kind of sometimes it was given from one of the family members. So you can have two names. So, I mean, I have a middle name, Daryl, which I never use.
But you can be called
I
Daryl.
can be, yeah.
Oh.
But I mean, my mother, I think, has got 4 names or 5 names.
Oh, wow.
So it was like an older tradition as well to have more than one name. And you
Yeah.
kind of like different family members, you grandparents and stuff like that. You
And
have
it's
their
it's
name.
not even a nickname, right? It's a real name.
It's a real name, yeah.
That which is going to be on your document.
Yeah.
Wow. That's something that like I really didn't understand for a few years. Isn't that like, you know, till now?
Yeah, I think Arabic culture is much more easier. You know where that name came from.
Yeah. It's descended.
Yeah.
For us it's easier, right? We get our parents' name if if you don't have father, then you can use your mother's name, or you can just have your. Usually it's the father's name, of
Yeah.
course. That's the last name. The first name will be given.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is no like in Mongolian culture I think it's in every country, right? It's in every culture even, like having a nickname when you're a child. That people starts calling you like close family members and close friends would call you for like whole life.
Yeah.
For me, Bagi is not my real name. You know? It's a nickname that
Yeah, by
was
the
given.
way, I have no idea what your full name is. No, I'm joking.
But you had my business card, right?
That's the reason I know. Only.
My full name is Baira, actually.
Ah.
It's a short name.
Short.
But then when Mongolians give a nickname, they usually try to make it shorter to like, And then when I tell this name to my Mongolian friends, they say like, why are you like, shortening a short name?
So
Because
it's
Baira and Bagi, it's
It's
short.
Baira.
Yeah.
Which is my father-in-law's name
Oh, really?
and my wife's second name.
Oh, wow.
So
We're a family now.
Did you find something interesting about Mongolian names here where women and men can have the same name?
yeah, pretty much.
And we don't have this. And I think Baggy was asking me.
Well, my name's Ashley, so
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
we can
And
kind of
in-
mix
I
it
was
up.
asking.
in the UK, Ashley can be a female name or a male name.
Yeah.
And I was saying to him, oh, well, he's fully Mongolian now.
I was like, my question was like, but as I know, right, like watching all these American movies and stuff, Ashley is like usually a female name, and then
Yeah.
I was like, is this it can be a male name, is it? I was like, yes, it can be. Like he has a lot of friends who's called Ashley. Then that's what I learned also.
Yeah,
There
actually-
are like unisex names, but in Mongolian, like we have like a lot of names that like
Mix up.
unisex, like mix up. Sometimes you would meet a person who literally has a male name, but like okay with it, everybody's.
But it is very interesting. For me, Mongolian names became having like female names and male names like interchangeable. it gets you to think about how naming in the world is, and in our culture, for example, for like Arabic culture, we have very few names similar to Ashley, where the majority are male name, but if a female has this name, it's not a problem. Yeah, and it's quite interesting.
Yeah, but you'll find overseas as well, most Mongolians have a foreign name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So they shorten it or something like that because they're very difficult to pronounce.
very very difficult.
I'm very sure, like, you know, the kh letter again, right? But for them, it's easier because
Yeah,
we
probably,
have the
yes.
similar like kh letter. Ahmed is actually
I think in Afrikaans there's also like the because it's a Dutch derivative language. Yeah, so you have the.
But I'm terrible at languages. I can't even speak Afrikaans. So it took me 19 years to learn Swedish.
Oh wow.
oh,
And then I
wow.
left the country.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah,
So you just saved the hab, you know.
you guys bought land here.
Yeah,
in
so
Mongolia.
we bought
But
land.
from working and having a life for the last how many years? 13. Well, you said 10 years or whatever.
Well, I
Sweden?
lived in Sweden for 19 years.
Okay.
So quite some time.
And you and your wife together?
Yeah, for 12 years.
12
or
years.
13 years now.
Yeah.
So
So having a
10
life,
years.
having a life there, established and stable,
exactly.
and then all of a sudden, let's go and try Mongolia. That must have been like a. How did you come to that decision?
Interesting one. I mean, I was working as a chef for 19 years in Sweden.
Yeah.
And Sweden is a great country. It has some really good things, but it also has some bad things as well. So it becomes a little bit monotonous. So all the food shops, they're exactly the same. They look exactly the same. They have exactly the same thing. The clothing shops, they all have the same thing, exactly the same thing. And so it gets a bit monotonous after a while. And I like to try new things. I like to do different things. So at that time, I mean, we planned to kind of build a house here and maybe have that as a retirement house one day, and things like that. So working as a chef in Sweden, and then of course COVID hit. And at that time, I was executive chef for a good hotel, and pretty much had to fire all of my staff.
Oh,
Wow.
And the company itself, which had a huge amount of hotels,
Lost.
they got rid of 75% of their executive chefs,
Oh my
and
God.
they decided to keep the ones that they wanted. So I got to stay, which was fine, but then they gave me 2 more hotels to look after.
so it kind of became more.
The stress.
Exactly.
Level.
And, being a chef is a creative thing, so instead of making your own menus, you kind of had to cut the menu down to just having a burger and a salad, and pretty much that's it. Your creativeness is gone.
Yeah.
And it just got really boring very fast. And cinematography and videography has always been a passion of mine. I wanted to study that when I was younger, but I didn't. So I always wanted to do that. So me and my wife, we talked about why don't we, we're planning on building a house in Mongolia. Why don't we do a YouTube channel? And we can do something in the same kind of genre that they do in the States and Canada, where we can have an off-grid homestead channel. Because there isn't such a channel in Mongolia. Nobody does it.
Yes, nobody does that.
So that was kind of the decision. But then my wife got pregnant with our son Flame. So it became a little bit of a logistical problem, building a house from scratch and trying to look after a newborn baby.
Yeah.
So we kind of changed that property. We sold that. We actually had friends of a family that had a property in a different area, but it had a house on it. And we could kind of sell the property we had and buy a new one with a house at the same price, and that made sense to us. We'd never seen the house, but it looked okay, but
From the outside.
from the
On
outside,
the outside, it was fine.
mistake number 1, because it's out in the country. But anyway, we did that, and we sold up everything in Mongolia, sold up our houses and cars, and moved across.
Moved. And where are you located? Like, is it
Just outside of the city, so not too far.
the trail side or like the north side?
Yeah, the
or-
north side.
North
yeah.
side.
So it's far enough to kind of be out of the pollution.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, but it's not our dream property.
Yeah.
We would like something a little bit further, a little bit more off grid.
Yeah.
Have more trees and forest and water and things like that. But it's okay. So we built this place up. This will kind of eventually maybe be my parents-in-law's retirement home, and we can build something else. So that was kind of what we decided. So we started YouTube in Sweden 2.5 years ago, and it was a big learning curve.
Yeah.
Just going on YouTube and you're learning absolutely everything there is about editing and how it works and what to do and things like that.
Algorithms.
So,
and
the
all
algorithm,
that.
yeah. And I mean, we invested quite a lot of money in all camera gear and all that type of stuff, which you don't need to do in the beginning.
yeah.
But
Because at the
It was
beginning,
not cheap though, like, creating, like, even for me, like, creating this studio corner. Yeah, it costed me somewhere around 60 million, so I never expected that.
Yeah,
Like,
because
you can pay it off after 10 years of YouTube.
Yeah.
yeah, 10 years, man.
Let's hope not. Let's hope.
No.
Let's hope we get successful soon.
Yeah.
Get some.
Well, like, my main goal was not, like, if it works as, like, gets monetized and everything, that's fine. But my main goal to start this podcast and everything was not to find money. It was just...
No, exactly, and that's the whole point. I mean, us doing YouTube channel I had a very lucrative job in Sweden. I mean, we had disposable income, we could do whatever we want, we could travel, we went different places all over the world. But when we had our son, it was a little bit different because I was working as a chef, so I'm doing like 70, 80 hours a week. My wife is working, and Sweden is set up in that way, and this is one of the crunches that you cannot be a single parent.
Yeah.
Both need to work. And then they expect that your kid goes to daycare at 1 year old or kindergarten 1 year old. So somebody else raises your child.
Yes.
And I didn't want that.
Same here.
I wanted to raise my son by myself and be more with my wife and my son growing up. And this was a good opportunity to do that, to do something together as a family.
I think that's the hardest thing in Europe, to be able to raise a family, then you have time for your family.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of lost right now. With like I always say to people in the UK, if you're not plugged into the system, you really don't survive. So it's a big thing. So I think that's a big thing about being able to live here in the East. I'm sure like other Eastern countries are the same, but also you don't have that comfort that you do have in Europe.
Yeah.
So did you like making that decision to move here? Was it easy or?
Yeah, it was pretty much easy. So I mean, I've got to the stage in my life where your priorities swing. And you have that in Mongolia here now too. People don't want to live out in the country. They're in their 20s. Their priority is to get a good job and to earn lots of money. And so as they get older, their priorities change and they'll see things in a different way. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, good to know that.
And I totally agree with that, like, raising your son on your own. Like, that was my idea too. Like, I have a 2-year-old. And then we never wanted to like give it to any daycare or like, some of the parents here in Mongolia, they just give their like children when they're like 1 year old to a kindergarten, like early stage. But then we never wanted it. We wanted to like, give our son to a kindergarten when he reaches 2. And then this year, finally, he's going to a kindergarten. And then, like you said, right, like raising your son, somebody else. And then that usually like, gives us a feeling of like that your children is not getting raised as how your parents would have wanted, and then they say like 1 to 3 years. That's the base, like age that gets all these attitudes, right? Like copies.
Well, let me ask you guys, as both of you are parents, the hard question. Like, okay, so in the UK, in Canada, and I saw some people protesting the other day on the news, there are a lot of new laws for teaching kids in school. And, you feel like in the West, the dynamic is changing. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not, I'm going to stay on the line here. But what do you think about that? The where the school system or the government dictate what your kids should be able to learn and believe. It's kind of an indoctrination kind of thing. Like what do you guys think about that?
Well, I can only speak from what I've heard or seen in Sweden. Sweden changed a couple of years ago where the teachers were not allowed to identify the children as being a boy or a girl. Like go to school and say, boys that side, girls that side. Now you can't. You can only identify it as a child, not as you are a girl, you are a boy. That's now totally out of the school system.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the tough things what I kind of learned living in Sweden is that the child does not belong to you in Sweden.
Yeah.
The child belongs to the government.
To the government.
You just have the right to look after it.
And I think that's in Canada.
Yeah, and if you do anything wrong or do anything that doesn't go against the way that they want you to raise a child, social services will be in. So if you don't send your kid to daycare, kindergarten, if you don't really have to, you can have them at home longer till school, but they want to know why.
Yeah.
So
They start questioning.
yeah, they start questioning and they get involved. So
Yeah.
very, very interesting.
Oh, for me, I'm really against it. Like, you know.
Well, here in Mongolia, I guess you are the parent until the kid is like 18 or something.
Yes, we're still the parent, and like not even 18, like, you know, like 21. Like 21. When you reach the age of, like, you know, having alcohol is allowed, you're very welcome.
Is it 21 here?
It's
for
21
alcohol?
here.
Okay, I really did not know that. I thought it was 18 years old.
No, it's 21.
Yeah, so so the UK and Europe, they are having a lot of these new laws, and it's kind of scary in a way for parents, I guess. And you see, like, do you think these things do affect Mongolia in a way, or how the government here, or the Western influence, quote unquote? Baggy, I have this question maybe for you.
Yeah,
as a
like, you
parent.
know, like it is, like, you know, starting to influence, right? Like, because starting from this year and, like, you know, previous years, like, you know, I understand that, like, you know, the government is trying to, like, you know, let all the students have their second languages in English, because it's a worldwide language. You need to have it to be able to reach more information and learn more stuff on your own. I get that, but then the government was, some of the people were saying, like, you know, the government tried this, right, last time, like, you know, trying to put the like English learning in like, you know, from early stages of the class, like from in first grade, or maybe from kindergarten. But then, like, some of the people start protesting, like, you know, say, why? Like, you want Mongolian kids to lose their culture and tradition,
exactly.
blah, blah. What?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
But the same thing kind of happened in Sweden back in the 80s and 90s as well, where more people started to learn English. And then now it just developed, so the whole country speaks English. I think I can kind of see that in Mongolia now, where the kids speak English, where the parents kind of understand maybe just a little bit, and maybe a little bit of Russian, and maybe the grandparents can understand more Russian, where that's kind of fading out. In 20 years from now, pretty much everybody in Mongolia will be able to speak
Yes,
English.
exactly. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you need to lose your identity as a Mongolian person. That just means that you're opening up to the world more possibilities.
Well, one of the interesting things is kids now, when you hear them speaking English, they of course with an American accent,
yes.
and you ask, how did you learn English? Oh, YouTube, or what is it called, Twitch?
Well, it's the channels, right? Like, there is no British cartoon channel on the television.
Teletubbies.
Or Australian, yeah. Teletubbies, those were like our age, you know, those were when I was a kid.
So you came, you bought the new house, and what like, tell us a bit about your YouTube channel. What do you guys do?
Our basis for the YouTube channel was to do something outside of the city, to have more of a homestead, self-sustaining, self-sufficient lifestyle, because we kind of planned into the fact that, okay, how much money do we need to earn in Mongolia to actually survive?
Yeah.
Because of course you need to make money here. YouTube, you can make money, but not in the early stages.
Yeah.
And it takes time to build up a business, which YouTube is a business. So we kind of had an estimate about how much we would need to earn. And then it came into, because I was a chef and I've been traveling to Mongolia for such a long time, and things are better now with the things that you can buy, but 10 years ago it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And still, me as a chef, I struggle to find the ingredients that I want to be able to use, and that doesn't work for me. I want to be able to cook the things that I want to cook and eat what I want to eat. So we had to kind of do something where we can grow our own vegetables. And this kind of made sense as well, because if we can grow our own things, we can spend less money on food.
Yeah.
So it was kind of how we can save as much money and eat better and look after ourselves and our family.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what kind of came into it. So our original plan was to just have a normal plastic greenhouse and do things, but then Mongolian winters are one of the harshest places in the world, and that wouldn't work. So we actually knew people in the UK who had been into geothermal greenhouses and winter greenhouses, and they have been building these deep winter greenhouses in Alaska and Canada and things like that. So we started involving and learning more about it. And the more we learned about it, it made sense. So we ended up building the very first geothermal ground-to-air heat transfer greenhouse in Mongolia. Here.
Oh.
So this is the first of its type.
Wow.
So we decided to actually add this into our YouTube channel. So we moved here, we moved into the homestead that we had. We had to put in water because there was no water, there was no shower, you know. So we had to fix that kind of thing, and then we wanted to work on the greenhouse project. So that's kind of what we've been building over the last year and a half. I think we made 20 or 30 episodes from start to finish, exactly how to build a deep winter greenhouse.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of where our YouTube channel kind of took off, and the interest.
And what are you guys growing in this greenhouse?
We're trying to grow as many varieties as possible so that we can prove that this does work and you can grow these things. So, I mean, we have papaya in there, we have passion fruit.
Wow.
Wow, you have passion for it.
You know, things that never grow here.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
a rare stuff.
Yeah, so I'm growing some guavas that come from South Africa. We're doing, I did a lot of chilies because I like to make my own hot sauces. So, you know, I have Carolina Reaper, the third hottest chili, you know.
Nice.
So we're growing our own ginger, lemongrass, things that wouldn't survive in Mongolia unless you had a heated greenhouse. And there are winter greenhouses in Mongolia that are heated. And there's different ways to heat it, either heating with coal or heating with electricity. But that's extremely expensive.
Yeah.
So we know someone who has a winter greenhouse, and their monthly electricity bill is 5 million Mongolian tu per month to heat the greenhouse.
So are you heating it with the geothermal? So you're digging
it's
deep
not complete geothermal with big heat pumps. What is the ground-to-air heat transfer system? So we dug 3 meters down below the frost line, and we ran piping all the way around, and we connected it with fans. So what it does is during the day when the greenhouse is hot, it pumps the air, the hot air, into the
Down
ground,
to the ground.
and warms it like a battery. And at the same time, cool air is coming to the greenhouse, so the greenhouse doesn't overheat. It stays at a good 25 degrees all day long, but the ground heats up. And then at nighttime, which we're seeing now, this is kind of like the change, where at night the fans will come on just for a little bit to keep the greenhouse warm. So the greenhouse will not drop below zero, I don't think, this year. Last year, we actually started the geothermal system in end of November. So it was a little bit cold last year, but it got to about -2 kind of in February when it was these really cold days. But we didn't have the battery. Now we have the battery, so we'll be able to use that heat during the whole winter. So.
And are you kind of controlling this with like some kind of I guess chip or something like that?
No, I had a friend in the UK, and we went while we were in the UK the year before. So I spent some time with him, and we built the whole electronic computer system, which has all the temperature controls and things like that, which turn the fans on and off.
It's
all automated. Yeah, exactly. So we have all the windows on linear actuators with temperature controls.
Nice.
So as soon as the temperature hits the temperature we want, we can open the windows and it will cool the greenhouse down and then close.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's besides the watering, which we will sort out as well, the greenhouse runs. So we can go away for a few days. We don't have to worry about everything dying or freezing or that type of stuff. So
We should see that.
We need one day you have to go and visit.
So I mean, at the moment, besides our YouTube channel, we also do consulting on greenhouses. So since this was the very first geothermal system of its type in Mongolia, it got a lot of traction. So I know of 3 greenhouses that are in the process of being built next year. So this will not be the last one. And this will make quite a big difference to the Mongolia market, where we can grow things that we normally import from China or import from Russia.
So
But you can grow them here.
have you grown any kind of crop that you can actually have a bit of an excess on that you can sell it on? Or
The greenhouse that we got is about 10 meters by 6 meters. So it mostly will be designed to feed our family.
yeah.
But when we do have excess, we kind of give it away to friends or sell it to somebody here and there. So it's mostly selling to family. So, but we have a couple of unique products that we will bring to market, especially when it comes to chili sauces and hot sauces, because you can't really buy that here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Fashion.
I'm a chili sauce connoisseur, so I love my chili sauce.
Yeah.
So it's
Chili
been,
sauce.
It's been great. So we've been utilizing the things in the greenhouse, and it's been fun.
Nice.
So is this like, I also want to know, like, what are you doing now for a living? Like, other than this, surely the farming is not the
No,
business.
so
This is
we have. I
a
mean,
project that you guys are developing.
yeah, we have lots of. When you do YouTube, you need to have lots of different things going on. So, of course, we have the YouTube channel. We also have. Sometimes we have some sponsorships as well, but doing the consulting for the greenhouses. Plus, I work a little bit part-time for the Valou Foundation. So I don't know if you know the Valou Foundation.
Oh, no, tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, the Valou Foundation is run by it's a Canadian organization, and here they have the Children of the Peaks Sanctuary, where they have 2 kindergartens to support underprivileged children and families. So I work part-time as a media consultant for them, just a couple of days a week, and helping them with promotional stuff and production stuff. And so I do that for them to help them out, which is great. It's for a really, really good cause.
Yeah, it is.
Plus, I do some other stuff as well. I did some acting. I was an actor in the last Zora 2 and Fantastic Productions.
Which one?
Zora 2.
Oh, really?
So I had
who were you in that movie?
the Australian Secret Service
Oh,
agent.
yes. The assassin, right?
So I had a small part, and then I have another TV series I've just been casted for. It's a Mongolian TV series that will start filming in about a month. So I have 8 episodes or 8 scenes with them. So
Nice.
couple of
I played on the movie. I was the villain. This was a TV series, like, which shot in like March, I think. It was about the domestic violence. The movie was against the domestic violence project, which was the Ministry of Justice was supporting.
And you're the villain, right?
So it has 9 episodes, and then I'm the villain on episode 4 and 5. I'm that, every episode has a different villain,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
I'm like on 2.
Yeah.
That dude just doesn't go away. I messed up 2 people's
But
life.
this is one of the interesting things about Mongolia. Like, you're doing your YouTube and stuff, and then, you're part of a TV series. How is your Mongolian, by the way?
Terrible. But you learn the important things like
Yeah.
Piv Beno. The first, the important.
It's very important.
Yeah, very important. So what is? So I don't even want to ask. What's your favorite word in Mongolian? Piepeno?
Piv Beno. Or Yao Yao.
Oh, yeah. Because for Yehab it was Yekste.
Yekste,
Right?
yeah.
Greg said Hots. Do you know what Hots means? It's yeah.
But it's quite interesting because a lot of people ask me about Mongolia, and I always say to them, it's just like Ulaanbaatar, where I live. It's a city, but it's also a village.
Yeah.
You get to know everybody at one point.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to
Sooner
know
or
you
later.
Sooner or later, yeah.
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 No, but this is the thing with the YouTube channel, is that it can't be your main focus, but it also brings in opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have the opportunity to help out the Valou Foundation if I wasn't known.
Yeah.
And getting that opportunity to work with Fantastic Productions or other things, so it brings things together. It's just like the start of a business.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there's many other things that you can venture out.
And in terms of sponsorship, what type of sponsorship do you get?
We got offered quite a lot of sponsorships, but the problem is that we are kind of situated between China and Russia. So sometimes most companies don't want to send products to Mongolia.
Yeah.
And they always come back with the same logistical problem. So you need to kind of navigate your way through that.
Yeah.
But online stuff, that does work. So there are companies that do want to work. It takes a bit of time to work with companies here because companies here are still mostly focused on Facebook.
Yeah.
YouTube is not so big for them. So they haven't kind of really grasped or grabbed onto the opportunities that YouTube can bring for their business. But it's changing. It's getting there. There are definitely companies that are here that are willing to work with YouTubers.
And in terms of like being off the grid, are you utilizing kind of like solar panels and things like that, or
We're not completely off the grid,
Yeah.
but we will be soon.
Okay.
That is a future plan, which is the first place we share it now. So that is the plan. And the whole thing about a YouTube channel is not just to focus on ourselves or just show our family. We try to bring some value to the channel as well.
Yeah.
So about what is life here and how can you build a life here and how can you, so building a greenhouse and how we did it. So the plan is to go off grid and to kind of show Mongolia that it is possible and how can you do it.
So
and
because we have a lot
food.
of space, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like, you can live without.
And you have sun 250, 60 days per year.
Exactly.
So stage one is
and the wind.
Is food.
Yeah, it's food. I mean, we do our own chickens.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's crazy that chicken is the most expensive meat here in
Yeah.
every other country is the cheapest.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, even when I was lived in India, like cheapest one was the chicken.
Chicken,
And
exactly.
beef was really expensive there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Some state.
You never want to buy chicken from China anyway. So
Yeah.
You never know what's going to go in it.
So is it hard to raise chicken and especially in winter?
No,
or?
it's really easy.
Yeah.
It's really easy, yeah. And there's some good companies here that we use and we work with them, and if we have any problems, they come out and help us. And yeah.
That's very good. We have to check those episodes with chicken.
Yeah, we have to see that.
Yeah.
And by the way, how old are you, by the way?
43.
43.
Yeah.
Yeah, same age.
Same age.
Yeah, give or
I'm the
take.
young one here. in this one,
Yeah. Around the same age. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
it's good. So how does it feel being a dad? Like, how old is your son?
My son is 2.5. He'll be 3
Yeah.
in November. So
And how does it feel I mean, obviously your life changed completely
Yeah.
being coming to Mongolia and so on.
yeah, I mean, spending time with him and spending time with the family has been unbelievably good. So never want to stop that. It's,
How was your what was the first impression of like your parents-in-law with you?
Yeah, I mean, moving here. Well, I met them 13 years ago when we first came here. So we've been coming here every year for the last 13 years. So, and they are lovely people, and that's the thing about Mongolia, where family is very important. So, I know they have it in other countries as well, in Arab countries where like family's everything.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's in a little bit of a different situation. Here, family is like important, and you keep your family close. And they were so open and accepting to bring me in. I've had bad stories as well, where foreigners have come and the family just wants to use them for every cent that they got. So there are those bad situations, but my wife's family, they were just fantastic. So it's nice to have that.
Yeah.
This kind of situations are like, it's not. I think it's not only in Mongolia, is it?
No.
Like this kind of situations. Like I'm sorry if maybe I'm mistaken, but I think this problem happens mostly in Asia, does it? In Asian countries.
You mean when the family is bad?
Yeah, like trying to rip you off or something.
I think this is very. It's not an everyday kind of thing.
It's not.
It's
Of
very
course
rare.
But when it happens, it's mainly in Asia, I think.
When it actually it happens everywhere. It's just not
Really?
just an Asian thing. Yeah. But I think in terms of just families in general, if their daughter or son is happy, the whole family is happy. They accept
Of course.
you. And if they see some unfairness or injustice, they'll try and get whatever they can and get you out of there. So
A word from a single man.
yeah. No, but I've seen this. I'm kind of obsessed with relationships, and like I watch a lot of documentaries
Yeah.
and stuff. So it happens.
Well,
in
his
Lat-
experience is all these
in-
documentaries, TV shows, everything.
in Latin America, it happens. In Mongolia.
But isn't the divorce
India.
rate here one of the lowest?
Is it?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, really?
In comparison to the West.
I'm hearing that for the first time. Like, we personally,
it's
I feel
getting
like these
higher.
young guys are like getting divorced a lot.
Yeah,
That's what I
things
feel
are
like.
changing as well.
Yeah. It's getting higher. It's getting higher, but
These
I think
like
it's-
these well like kids from the I'm not gonna say kids, but still like the born from like end of 90s or like start of 2000s, right? The next generation. They're
Gen
like
Z.
getting divorced. Yeah, Gen Z. They're like getting divorced a lot, like because without planning anything, of course, and like they're doing everything out of excitement. There's not a proper plan, but there are a lot. They're really smart, by the way. Apart from that, of course, they're really smart because they grew up with the internet.
Yeah.
They grew up with English, not like us because we the only dealing specific people learned, like the ones had TV, the ones had like the families who had like internet had to this had a great experience on computers. Now they can know what computer can do and stuff. But for us, we learned everything the hard way, like going to an internet cafe and then paying hourly to sit there, and then it's a slow ass internet.
Back in the days when you wanted to make a mixtape for a girl, you would have the radio playing,
Yeah,
and
and
you would
the
have
cassette.
tape, play, record, pause,
Yes.
and you would wait for that song.
Yes.
And then as soon as it's played, you push it on, it
From
starts
the radio,
recording.
right?
And sometimes they play adverts, and sometimes they
Exactly.
don't. And then halfway they advert, damn it!
So is it
Do it again.
It was same in your
Oh,
country.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Because that's what, and then like usually what we used to do is like, I booked the song by myself and then say like, don't play any advertising in the middle.
Yeah, but that's, South Africa and Mongolia had some similarities,
Yeah,
so
it
that's why it
seems
was.
like it.
I think a couple of years
Cassettes,
ago,
man.
I showed my nephew. I showed him a cassette and a pen and a pencil. I saw a meme online, so I decided to kind of check it if it's real or not. So I showed him a cassette and a pen actually, and I said, "Do you know what these first? Do you know what this is?" He goes, "It's some kind of like." Memory chip for music, right? All in the old days they used to use that. Like, yeah, memory chip. It is. Do you know what this is? They're like, no. That's like this reminds the memory chip. So the certain generation they grew up with internet and their phones and stuff, and it's one of those things that it makes you wonder, like, you guys, as being fathers, do you think about how your kids are gonna, like, when they grow up, what type of jobs they're gonna have, or what type of skills they need? Because, to be honest with you, as someone who's a techie, and I see, like, how AI is and so on, and we spoke with Greg about this, Greg about this, and things are different. So I feel like you need to teach your kids some kind of skill that you have to do with your hands. Not a robot can't just come and do it, or a computer can't just do it.
Yeah, or just life skills.
Yeah,
you need to
practical life
Yeah,
skills.
because like for me, like us having a son, right? Like what I want my son to learn first of all is like be a handyman. Always, it's very useful in life.
Yeah.
I made this table, by the way, by myself.
Good.
So like it helps. Like there will be, even though in the future, right, there will be days that you needed to do something on your own. Like if it's in the countryside, maybe in a different country, like you just need to have a skill of like surviving. That's what I think.
So
The rest, I give it to him.
what about you, Ash?
Yeah, but I think it's important to teach your kids and actually spend the time with them and actually have your opinions as well. So I'm sure the more time you spend with your kid and you can find their talents and what they're interested in, and you can kind of put positive motivation in that and let them be and do whatever they as they want to grow. You know, there's so many things in the curriculum that you can kind of cut out. You know, so you can kind of nurture them to become whatever it is that they would like to become.
Oh, I have a great answer for that. Like, judging his opinion and like, plus mine, I think we can just teach our sons what they should not be. Rest is on their own.
Good answer.
Yeah.
So is Sweden like cold?
Sweden is cold, but not as cold as this.
So
But cold is a different thing because you have it cold there, but when you're in this like between 0 degrees and minus 12, it feels colder because it's a wet cold.
Yes.
Here it's a dry cold.
Humid cold.
And I thought that coming here with the winters would be harder.
Because it's dry?
I've been here in the winter and like if you're here for like 2 weeks, it's really hard.
Yeah.
You know, even just going to the car, you're like dying.
Yeah.
But once you've been here for a while, you kind of acclimatize to it.
Yeah.
I mean, because we have chickens and we're cutting wood outside, and pretty much I have to go outside every single day.
Really active, right?
Really active, and it's okay. You get used to it. As long as you have the clothes and you have the boots and things like that, it's okay.
And living out in the country, like out of the city,
Yeah.
how difficult is it in winter? Because let's say you need something important, you have to drive down or figure out how to come to UB to.
As little as possible. Yeah, you come. Yeah, of course, when you're living out of the country, Uber, you know the traffic, you know where it's going to be bad, when it's going to be bad. So there's a little bit of logistics to it, but so much better to stay out in the country, and if you have the house for it. So I mean, the house what we got, the insulation was so bad, so we had to solve some way of doing it. We have a 2-story house, so we kind of in the wintertime we moved downstairs and kind of closed everything off and put insulation on the windows that we're not using, and we put in underfloor heating. So we did that, so otherwise we wouldn't be able to survive. Otherwise you would running the fire non-stop.
Yeah.
So it's hard, but then electricity becomes expensive. So
And
But like comparing to the rest of the countries in the world, the Mongolian electricity is a bit cheaper, isn't it?
yeah, cheaper and petrol, but food
Food,
food
yeah.
is
Very
more expensive.
It's more
Yes,
expensive than the
yes,
UK. I know
exactly.
You know, so if you have food that is so expensive, and then you have Mongolian salaries that are so low, I mean, I don't know how they could survive. And you know, this is spending time doing like the greenhouse, and then we got invited up to Dachan to do a presentation for farmers there and teach them about winter greenhouses and that it is possible to grow here in the winter. And the problem is that most Mongolians, like in different countries, they don't want to grow in the winter because they lose money.
Yeah.
So a Mongolian farmer will stop producing. They will only grow kind of a short period. And the problem is they don't want to extend too much because they don't make any money. So you have these middlemen who buy the produce from a Mongolian farmer. But when it comes to winter, the Mongolian has to work harder, has to pay for electricity. Everything becomes more expensive, but they don't pay them more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Mongolian farmers are not earning enough money to grow in the winter. You know, they're struggling. It's the middlemen that are making lots of money.
All the money.
And they're selling it to the shop at the same price. So
So this is the issue, like in not only in the farming. I think this was also in this like sheep wools and cashmeres and stuff.
Yeah,
That's what I heard. Because like also the middleman is making a lot of money because you're getting to these herders, right, and going to there. And these change guys, like brokers, they buy everything and then they sell it to the factories and then like double the price.
Yeah.
Even like 3 times, maybe
Yeah.
tripled it, maybe. That's what I heard, though.
So have you lived in a gear when you came?
no, didn't live in a gear. I've of course spent
Yeah.
lots of time in a gear, but
Yeah.
no.
Do
not
you
yet.
guys didn't build a gear to compare like how?
No, we will. I mean, we will definitely put one up. That is the plan. So we can do some stuff there in the winter and
Do some stuff.
do some
You mean?
videos and do some stuff, do some videos and do some content, and it'll be interesting because we try to do some cooking on our channel as well. We're going to bring more of that in, especially now that we're kind of harvesting what all the time we've put in. So now that we're harvesting, we want to show how you can actually grow your own stuff and use it. and we will do more of that.
My main question about the YouTube channel, and this is actually for me, but also for probably a lot of young guys out there who want to create their own content or get into this business. From the time you invested on your, let's say, camera equipment and all of that, to the time that you got your first kind of decent paycheck from YouTube,
to reach to that point.
To reach to that point. I mean, I know there's lots of factors, there's lots of things. Some people can do it in 1 month, 2 months, but the average or kind of the thing that you said, okay, this is working. I'm not wasting my time. I'm actually going to go all in this. Tell us about that.
That's the whole thing. It's about going all in. You know, I'm never like a half foot in type of person. It's like you're either going to do it or you don't. So we went full-time YouTubers when we had 300 subscribers. That was our, I mean, we had saved up in Sweden for some time. We sold a house and our cars and things like that. So we did put an initial investment in it, and we could run it for a while without actually earning anything. But it was either all or nothing. And that's what we put in, and we keep on that focus. So learning as much as we can, and you know, that's what, you know, if you watch YouTube, there are hundreds of thousands of channels giving advice and how you do it, but you need to do it. And they talk about you need to make 100 videos first, because your first 100 are going to be rubbish. It's your next one. But it could, I mean, you could make good videos straight away, but you're learning every single time. I mean, I've learned things now that I didn't know a year ago. And my editing's got better. The, you know, camera work has got better. You work on different focuses. So you get improving and improving and improving.
So you participated in, you know, like recently in Mongolia they had that NAS
Daily.
Summit, and like, was there anything that's that you saw? Oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm going to implement that into my.
I mean,
was it all?
There was a lot of different types of things there. So I mean, I got to go up on stage for this roasting session.
Okay.
And we kind of knew exactly what he was going to focus on, because we make long form content. We don't make short form content. So there's pros and negatives to that. Yes, we can do a little bit of short form content. We have plans to do that, but our main focus will always be the long form content. And that's the subscribers that we do have, and that's what they do enjoy watching.
So for people who don't know out there, what's the difference between a short
form content is less than 1 minute. Okay. So it's either your Facebook or your Instagram Reels or TikTok or YouTube Shorts or things like that. Where long form content is more than 1 minute, but it's normally ranging anything from 12 minutes to 30 minutes. I mean, I watch YouTube channels which are 1 hour long, just because I enjoy watching them. So there's different things. So, but we got to meet the YouTube strategist, strategic strategist. He was here, so we had a one-to-one with him. So we got some very good intel about how to structure our channel and what works and what doesn't work, because doing it in Mongolia has its downsides as well.
The guy from UK, right? That he says he represented YouTube from UK.
Yeah.
I was there at the Nest Daily.
Okay.
Usually, like on Nest Daily, they talked about a lot of experiences they had and cases. And then, like, I kind of liked what do you call it? The magician guy? Julius Dean. I loved his speech. Like, you know, when he said, like, you know, even though, like, you know, he was like making a lot of videos, and then when the COVID hit, he started doing this pranks,
when he broke up with his girlfriend.
Pool parties at his home, and started shooting these pranks and putting on YouTube because he couldn't go out anymore. And then he was making hell lot of money. And then he reached that point that he fell from that. Like, he like just suddenly, instantly hit him, right? He said, like, you know, he was doing something wrong. It was not that what he actually wanted.
Well, if it's not the right type of content you're creating, but once something is out there, it's out there. But
this is the difficult thing with content creation in Mongolia, because there is no monetization
Yes.
for YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. So, I mean, I've met quite a few content creators, and they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but they make nothing. So it is a challenge here.
So in a way, let's say the people who have these subscribers and they have these views, how could they start monetizing them? What do you recommend?
Well, I mean, the Minister of, she was at the
Minister of
NAS,
Culture.
Minister of Culture. Well, you know, she's in the process of trying to organize monetization.
Google agreed, they said, right?
Yeah, I don't know if this will ever happen. Of course, if it does, it would be fantastic because we would actually make money in Mongolia.
Yeah.
But you can't count on that. So what is it that you want to do? Do you want to create content, enjoy creating it, or do you want to just get the next paycheck? So of course we want to get paid for putting in the time, but do we want to become superstars or make lots of money or just enjoy it? So there's got to be this balance about enjoying what you do and also being able to get paid for it, enough to survive anyway.
Enough to survive and continue doing it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It basically, like, you know, for Mongolian YouTubers and these content creators, right? This would give them a really good opportunity, and then also Mongolia as a landlocked country, it could be a good export, content creation, and then I think the Mongolians will start creating like English contents.
Yeah,
if it gets monetized.
And that's the problem when you can make a channel which you speak Mongolian, and you will grow very, very fast here. But there's only so many Mongolians in the world. There's only so many Mongolians in Mongolia. There's only so many in the demographic that actually will watch either YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram if it's part of what they like to watch.
Yeah.
And then you'll get to a cap. So you'll grow very fast, and then you'll stop growing, or you'll grow very slowly. So yes, if you have that content where you can just keep on making the same thing over and over and over, like after 170 episodes, and you have a way to make money out of it, then that's good. But if you want to reach a worldwide demographic, English kind of is the way to go. But it also has to be relatable.
Yeah.
So
It has to make
Exactly.
sense to
Yes.
the
exactly,
rest
because
of the
people
world.
say, why don't we do our YouTube channel in Mongolian? And you can't really explain it to them. So yes, we're in Mongolia, but it's not Mongolian focused, and our channel is to help Mongolians as well, but also to be viewed worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they should understand it, right?
Well,
Well, like, look, what I meant is like, we should, even this podcast, I mean, like, if we kept talking about like Mongolia for the whole, like, 2-3 seasons, it's gonna get boring.
yeah. I mean, we did subtitles. We tried subtitles for a while. I mean, our subscribers here in Mongolia would like us to do subtitles for every video, but the problem is it takes about 8 hours.
Exactly.
And it then takes a while time for my wife to sit down and actually translate everything, put it into the computer, and it just takes a lot of time. And we couldn't like pay someone to do it because we don't earn enough money to do the subtitles.
Yeah.
But then we looked at the algorithm, and if we look at 2 videos, one with Mongolian subtitles and one without, the one with Mongolian subtitles gets more views,
Yeah.
but you earn less money. Where the other one you get more money but less views.
Yeah.
So it's balancing out.
Does it?
Well, why don't you
does
just
it
like,
make it-
what we're doing right now is like, it's just doing an auto translation, right?
Yeah, there are ways around it.
Yeah, and then like our channel is, if you press the CC, it's in Mongolian now.
Yeah.
I was also facing the same problem when we started, and then now, because I knew that the Mongolian viewers gonna ask subtitles, and they did. And one of my friends, like a bunch of my friends, said, "Why don't you put in a Mongolian subtitle? The Mongolians will not understand that." But I was like, look, if I wanted Mongolians to understand, I would have done the podcast in Mongolian.
Yeah, but I mean, more than that, it's important to actually have some kind of subtitles or something. And
No, it is there.
AI is kind of moving fast. So
Oh, he's
I'm
a
hoping,
AI fan, though.
I'm hoping in a couple of months, Mongolian language is going to be part of it. Because right now you can translate all your videos into like Spanish or whatever.
Yeah.
And it kind
No,
of
the
sync
YouTube
with
is
the
translating it into
Yeah,
Mongolian.
I talked with the strategic strategist, YouTube
Yeah.
strategic strategist there, and he said it won't come. Well, not anytime soon.
Yeah.
So he said, like, what to kind of focus on is trying to get international market.
Yeah.
Focus on, do stuff related that Mongolian people find interesting, but that Westerners or foreigners overseas would find interesting.
Yeah.
And as soon as you go to a channel to where you can actually afford something, the very first thing they want to get is an editor.
Yeah.
So that somebody else can edit your videos. Not that you're a bad editor, but it frees up a lot of time. I mean,
Exactly.
For you to actually come up with new ideas.
yeah.
And
I mean, my editing takes about 18 hours
Oh, wow.
for a long form content.
yeah.
Because, you know, I focus and try to get things good the way I want it.
Perfect
So,
on
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Does it make a difference if you upload something using a VPN, let's say for UK, or just upload it directly from here, but yet having the channel to be internationally focused?
Yeah, you can upload it from here. Makes
Yeah.
makes no difference.
No difference, right? It
No.
doesn't matter as long as your channel location is set somewhere
Yeah, yeah.
else.
I mean, once you get to a stage where you can monetize, I mean, when I was monetized, it was the old system where you had to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 viewing hours. They've kind of cut that in half.
Oh, right
So
now they cut it
yeah, I
in
think it's
half?
500 subscribers
Okay.
and 3,000 viewing hours. I'm not completely sure. I need to double check that. But then once you become monetized, you need to apply for the Google AdSense
AdSense.
account, and then they want to know kind of where you are, what country, your bank account details, and things like that. And so any YouTube channel that is monetized in this country is actually not in Mongolia. And this was the funny thing. If you can go to Google and you can look at the top 100 YouTube channels in Mongolia.
Yes.
You know, there are channels there. They are not Mongolian because none of them really are, because they wouldn't kind of make money if they were a Mongolian
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah.
So interesting.
It's still no.
So I would love to know where we are on the list. we're not on the list, but very interesting.
Maybe you can do some research on that.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, so one of the other things that I'm interested in knowing, so you came here, you decided, okay, you've been coming since 2010 and so on. Like, what are the cultural differences that you kind of experience that you say, wow, this is completely different from what I'm used to?
Well,
Let's start first with food, because you're a chef.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
of course, things have changed a lot.
yeah.
You know, I came here, they didn't have Emart, they didn't have Noman, you know.
Yeah.
You just go to the local things and then they have cabbage, carrots, onions, and pretty much that.
I remember that,
You know,
yeah.
you couldn't buy cream, you know. It was different. But it's got better. Food, you know, I get to try different things. So it wasn't so hard for me. Mongolian food is a bit bland in most cases. But they are learning. I mean, it's with Korean foods now and different types of spices and different things. So, yeah.
So did you try eating a marmot?
No, not yet. That's one thing I haven't tried yet. But you know it's illegal.
Yeah.
So if,
And then
I do, I won't record it.
I remember that, like, you know, when I went to India and lived there for 2 years, after coming, like, it's a very exotic food in India, right? And then, like, a lot of spices. They say, like, the Indians created the spices, right? And then, like, when I came back from India, first when I experienced the Indian food there, it was like, I couldn't handle it, because I loved spice before because of the Koreans, and the food was here regular, and then it was a different type of spice, like, you know, masala and everything. It was totally different. And then I went in the streets. Some of my, like, Indian friends took me out and said, I told them, like, I want to try this street foods, and they said, are you sure? Yes. And then they took me to this corner joint that they had a food called pani puri. So it's basically a flour balloon that you put a cold soup in it, and then you chew it. And then they will give you 8 pieces, and the last one is a dry one. I loved the last one. But when I first took this pani puri, right, it's very small, like a tennis ball. You crack it, we make a hole in it, and then you put a cold soup.
Yeah.
When you eat it, it first tasted like a what do you call it? Cloth washing soap. It did.
Yeah.
And then it really tasted like that. I'm like, he was like, and I'm like, it tastes like soap. And then, in a way, like, after 2 months, I was the one who was treating my friend with that. I was
Yeah,
getting
I mean-
used to it, and then I'm like, oh, this is so good. And then India does not have any European food, like anything. Like, even in the hotels, they will only serve Indian food. And then when I came back from India, Mongolian food tasted really pale. Like
Bland.
there
Very
was
bland, yeah.
very bland. There was like no, like, you know, you couldn't feel anything. And I was like, every time when I had a Mongolian food, right, I love turung, I love hoshu, but I would always put a spice in it.
Yeah.
But now,
Some hot sauce.
Yeah, hot sauce. I love that chili sauce though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got stuck into it right away. I mean, because me being a chef, okay, I didn't do so much butchery as a chef, but I knew the principles. And I was like, okay, in Mongolia, instead of going to the shop, because, I mean, butchery is getting a little bit better, but the butchery here is terrible.
Yeah.
So you kind of had to do everything yourself.
Yeah, the cuts are
So-
a little bit different.
Yeah, you buy your own beef, you buy your own lamb. And there's a lot of expats, they have problem eating Mongolian beef or lamb because they just don't like the flavor.
Yeah.
But it's not only that, it's the way you cook it.
Yeah.
And it's the way you butcher it as well.
It's the way you butcher it.
So
and
I get
slaughtering
the
animal.
whole lamb. I cut it up. I make the cuts. Of course, it's a little bit different because it's not really lamb. It's
Mutton.
mutton, and it's grass fed. So the cuts are a little bit different, but you can still turn it into a very nice product.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like things like say sudete or arag or any of these things.
Sudete.
Sorry,
Sudete.
sorry about my bad pronunciation, but yeah.
It's TS.
Yeah.
Ta.
So what did you think about these things? Like the first time you tried them?
Arik, I actually really like it. But the first time was kind of like a little bit strange. But then when you get used to it, it's like now the summertime. It wouldn't be the same
yogurt
without
drink.
it.
What is your favorite Mongolian food?
Favorite Mongolian food? Probably Arik would be the most favorite. Food.
So the beverage is addict for
Okay,
sure.
okay.
Boards, Hosho,
Yeah.
turban.
Tune is actually not Mongolian, you know that?
Hosho would probably be the number one.
Nadam Hosho, I would say.
But did you guys know that like in boats, horseshoe, tune, these are not Mongolian food?
Probably not now.
Well,
But the
it's
problem is,
all from China, you know.
problem is they're also very bad for you.
Yeah.
That's the one. The biggest problem is
Flour and meat.
yeah, mixing your proteins and your carbohydrates.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be good for you.
And like when I went to India, I found out that was when I first found out tune is not Mongolian. Because when I went there and then went to a Tibetan restaurant and I went to a Chinese restaurant and they said, "Here, chow mein," and I'm like, "Holy shit, this is tune," because it had like noodles but this is a different type of noodle, right?
Well, Mongolian barbecue in the West, like for example in the UK, when you hear Mongolian barbecue, you think, oh,
That's not a Mongolian.
and then you come here and you discover there's no such thing.
No
as
such
that.
thing.
Well, I mean, they had the Mongolian barbecue restaurant here a few years ago. They only
Yeah.
had one of it,
Yeah.
and that closed down.
You mean the modern nomads one?
No, there was one. It was
In
called,
near Seoul Street.
yeah, Mongolian barbecue.
Yeah.
There was one restaurant, and in Sweden we have it as well, the Mongolian barbecue, which has that where you kind of pick different things and then they stir fry it for you.
Yeah.
So they took that concept, but of course it had a lot more Chinese
Yeah.
dishes
Yeah.
that you had here.
It's like the same thing. Like the Mongolian barbecue I think it was first created by Americans, is it?
It's created by Chinese, I guess Chinese Americans
Really?
or something. Yeah. So it's
But then like yet the Americans also made what do you call that? The cookie? The Chinese cookie that they named. Fortune cookie.
Fortune cookie. Where you,
This is not Chinese though. Like, there's no such thing as fortune cookie there. It was American made.
So before you met your wife, like, have you heard of Mongolia?
Nope.
And
Maybe heard of it, of course,
Yeah,
because I've
like-
looked at the maps, but
yeah.
you know, not so much.
Okay,
Not so much.
so what attracted you to her? What kind of
She was really good looking.
Really sexy. That's actually a very honest answer, you know. Like there are men who would say, like, you know, oh, she had this inner beauty. That's a lie. You know? That is a lie because, like, men would always first see the beauty,
Yeah.
and then we'll go into the hearts and everything. Like there are, like, you know, men who would, like, you know, most of them will lie. It's like, oh, she had really good mindset. Like, oh, really? Like, how did you see the mindset?
Yeah, I mean, she's my soulmate.
yeah?
We work together so good.
So she knew English, or
Her
Swedish?
English was not so good at the time,
Uh-huh.
but I was, very good at communicating with somebody who's not that good in English, because South Africa has so many diverse languages, so you're often communicating with people who don't understand each other.
Yeah, a lot of diversity there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we found a way, and her English improved. So
And also Swedish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, also Swedish as well.
It's kind of like you don't know how your life gonna turn out. Like, if you asked me, 15 years ago, you're gonna end up in Mongolia, I would have said, where is Mongolia? So it's life is quite interesting in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there like have you? I mean, going back to the social media stuff, I wanted to ask in terms of TikTok, what do you think of it?
Not for me.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I can understand this type of content, and it does work, and people can make a lot of money. If that's what you want to do, if you enjoy making that type of content, then go for it. But I mean, I don't watch TikTok. I mean, I'm not a shorts type of guy. I'm old school, so I like to watch something entertaining. That's this flick through generation. No, but I mean, if you enjoy that and that's what you want to do, go for it.
So you were telling me, I think last week or the week before, you were trying to do it like, you went to film a documentary and you're getting into kind of more serious topics.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of stuff. So we're busy shooting a documentary. It's a new. Well, it's not a new, because I've been working with the Blue Foundation and doing things. They do a charity event every year, which is called the Gobi Gallop. Gobi Gallop, and they have international riders that come from all over the world, and they come and do 700 kilometers on a horse in 2 weeks. So they're doing about 70 Ks a day. So it's quite tough. But this is a main fundraising opportunity for the Blue Foundation to raise money for the underprivileged children.
Yeah.
So I met Julie Valou, who runs the Canadian non-profit organization, Blue Foundation, and she wanted somebody to kind of take some pictures, and she kind of met me and my wife, and then saw about the YouTube channel and what we do, and saw that we're a real family, and genuine people. So she thought, why don't you guys come out? Because last year they had something called the Blue Wolf Totem, which was 300 kilometers in 3 months.
Wow.
So they did a lot of Mongolia. So she said, why don't you come out a couple of times and do some footage? So I said, this is great. So we actually have the Blue Wolf Totem. I did 3 or 4 episodes on our YouTube channel, so I've traveled all over Mongolia to do videos about the horse riding and things like that. So that was a fun experience. So I've done lots of things for them as well. So they have the Gobi Gallop also has a Gobi Gala every year. So that's a big charity event that they put on. So I do some kind of video footage of the Gobi Gallop, and we have it at the gala and things like that.
Nice.
So I've been doing a lot of media stuff as well. So at the moment we're working on a new documentary. The title has kind of not been set yet, but it's pretty much old people doing cool shit. Because I mean,
That's a good title.
yeah, they have some incredible people that are actually coming out on these horse rides. These women are sometimes we have one that is 71 years old.
Wow.
No.
And she's going 500 kilometers on a horse.
Wow.
And there's others in the 70s and late 60s, and Julie kind of put an idea together that there's a lot of older people doing all these crazy things, and most of them are with us. Let's make a documentary.
Yeah.
So we actually had a gentleman. His name is Jar. He's 81. He's called the Horseman. So he actually came out for this trek that we did for 2 weeks. So he's 81. He can still ride horses, and he was signed for Motown. He opened up for the Jackson Fives. When they were popular.
Musician,
he's
singer,
magician, and he's done acting and all different things like that. So he was a lead role in this documentary.
Wow. All right, let's kick started immediately. I wanted to ask you about getting materials and things like that, how easy is it to, because Mongolia is between Russia and China, and like the majority of stuff is probably coming from China. So do you kind of source out any local materials and so on?
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen our channel, we do a lot of building stuff. So we build everything ourselves. And that was kind of like an adjustment change, like where to find things. Because like overseas, you have Lowe's, you have Bauhaus, you have, you can pretty much get anything you want, where here you can't.
Yeah.
And I think because overseas you have a lot of codes, so everything is to code and you need to build to code, where here in Mongolia you don't. There's no code. You can do whatever you want, which is a fantastic place to build, but finding material is hard.
Yeah.
And so many people are importing material from China, so they don't always have the same things.
Yeah.
But yeah, we found Zual. We used to call it 100 families.
100 families.
Go to 100 families 100 times. We just completed our own terrace. We made it from steel, but our original plan was to do it from wood. So we were starting to look for material for that, and there's a product that you use called a roof hanger that kind of holds the joist. So it's a piece of metal that you just screw in. Every single shop has it, but they don't sell it in Mongolia. So it's like, okay. It's like, how are you going to solve that problem? And you kind of run into that in Mongolia the whole time. You just like, my wife would get so irritated at me because I'm like, okay, well, we need this and this and this. Let's go and find it.
So she would say, like, why you keep looking something which is not here?
Exactly. Yeah, and when you do find stuff, the qualities are different. So you need to look around. But after practice, you find a way around it.
Yeah.
And you kind of find a way to kind of, as an expat, how to buy. Because as an expat, if they see you for the very first time, sometimes they put the price up. Not always.
Yeah.
I kind of talked about that in a bit in the last video that we did, because you kind of have to have a strategy. So it helps that my wife is Mongolian, so when we go shopping to a place we've never been to before, she kind of goes in the shop, she talks to them first, gets the price, and then I kind of come in and they're like, damn it.
we can't change
And the
price,
next time when you come, they would recognize
Yeah, but they are generally good people in Mongolia that we buy from, and they, prices are on the product, and they help you. But we have caught out a few people who have come in and like put a price, and it's just ridiculous. But it doesn't happen all the time, but it's funny when it does.
So you said like you traveled through Mongolia a lot, right?
Yeah.
You've seen most of the provinces. So which place was your favorite?
I would say kind of like the west side. The west side, or I like kind of the nature, and if like forests and those types of things. So up north is also very nice.
Yeah.
Far west is beautiful.
Like
Valnogi with all the mountainous areas and all the different colors. It's something spectacular to see.
Yeah, the Altai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my wife gets very jealous because they grew up in the city and she hasn't traveled everywhere. But I've traveled more in Mongolia than she has in her whole life.
But do you realize that, like, when I most of the expats who's lived here, somehow they have traveled more than me. Like they've traveled most of the province than me, and probably I've seen, like I also told Greg about this, and probably I've seen 5 to 7 provinces max. But then yet there are expats who lives here and then already seen up to starting from 10 to 20.
Yeah.
And for Greg, he saw
Greg saw the
21
whole of
provinces,
Mongolia.
whole
Yeah.
Mongolia. And then you guys would find the beauty of the places, and then all these secret locations, right? The exotic areas, probably.
Exactly.
That's really amazing,
So back to the YouTube. I'm interested in this because, for example, the NAS Daily kind of summit and all that. Have you got any people contacted you to kind of work with you being here, doing this in Mongolia full time and so on?
Yeah, we have done some collaborations, and we're open to that. I think it's great, and that was kind of the thing as starting a YouTuber. I reached out to bigger channels, and sometimes it gets to a stage where they don't care. They would have 400,000 subscribers, and they're just not interested in helping you. And I didn't want to become that person. So I'm happy to work with channels that are bigger and even channels that are smaller. You know, there's no competition. That somebody's going to like, your channel is going to get bigger than mine, and I'm going to lose out. We all in it together. You know,
You kind of grow together.
you kind of grow together. So I would work with people who have bigger channels than mine, and I would work with people who have smaller channels, and that's the right way to kind of see it.
So have you
Because the payer is
collaborated-
one, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
The payer is only one.
Yeah.
Have you collaborated with any people interesting, interesting channels, other interesting?
Yeah,
channels?
we've done some stuff with Gangholm.
Yeah.
So we
What-
did some.
What do they do?
They do a lot of Facebook and Instagram posts.
Yeah.
So they're a couple. Yeah, some other things and some other things coming up, which I can't really get into.
Get into right now.
It will be fun, and it is fun to kind of experiment in different things. So I mean, we have our YouTube channel, and sometimes people think it's just a blog of our life.
Yeah.
Or just a vlog. And I didn't like that word. I can call it a vlog, but it's not really a vlog because there's a lot more detail that goes into it. Where we're planning a project and how it's going to work and what are we going to film this week and all the angles that are going to go. I mean, if we didn't do the YouTube channel, we could pretty much build the greenhouse in 2 months.
Yeah.
We could do all these projects that we can just do, but it just slows down because we want to show an aspect of the whole process from start to finish and put a story behind it and things like that. So
And also showing people how you can come to Mongolia and be able to live kind of off grid, but not in the city.
exactly.
And that's I think nowadays a lot of people want to do that. Like
Yes.
I've seen some channels where people building their houses in Indonesia and in Bali and in different places.
The Mongolians, unfortunately, the culture kind of works out because they live in the city. They think that being outside of the city, you need to be poor. So living outside, you're a poor person. They want to be in the city and pretend that they have lots of money and got a good job. And of course, priorities change as well. But you can live outside of the city and still have a good life. Do things more for yourself. So it's a very different aspect of it. And we're getting a lot of comments, and people are kind of working out. So we've done a lot of things, and we get so many interesting responses, especially since we're a mixed couple.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was kind of a big topic. People in Mongolia agree with it and don't agree with it. What's it like?
Being as a mixed couple, yeah.
So I mean, we had one person that reached out to us, and he grew up with the fact that Mongolians should marry Mongolians. That's the way it should be. But then after watching our channel and actually seeing our life, he changed his mind.
Yeah.
And he wanted to reach out.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
it's fantastic.
That's really nice.
So I have another question. So this is usually happens in this question is usually asked in the middle. Same as like how Greg ended up. But
it's okay when you when you're editing this, you can put that question in the middle.
No. So was there any funny moments in Mongolia that you would laugh out loud, like an experience you had in Mongolia?
We've had a few experiences.
Could you share with us one of them?
Well, one of the toughest ones. I wouldn't say it's the funniest laugh out loud, but it was one of the toughest ones. We just came to Mongolia. We moved in. We started renovating. We started drilling for a well, putting water, and then we started getting a lot of death threats. So
Why?
So foreigner moving to the country, like tapping into Mongolian resources, and so it was kind of scary in the beginning. I have a lot of friends here as well, so they were like, "Don't worry about it; it's totally fine." But I mean, it does happen. So, but it hasn't happened for a long time. But it was a scary moment.
How did you navigate?
Because
that?
it was
how did you navigate that?
Just grow some balls. No, it just knocked us for a couple of weeks. And we just okay, we've got to push on.
And that's just because you just started digging a well.
Yeah, and changing things in Mongolia and stuff like that. But it's very unusual. I mean, most Mongolians are extremely friendly. So, but yeah, I can't think of any other strangely funny things.
But you and also at the end you found out that it was just words, right?
Yeah,
nothing actually happened.
Nothing actually happened. Nothing to worry about. One of the strange things, because we were doing YouTube, and the thing about behind. People want to do like social media because they want to become famous. It's never our intention. I don't care about fame whatsoever. Even if someone's famous, I talk to them as a normal person because I see fame, I don't relate to it that much. So I never wanted to be famous. So sometimes I forget that people are watching my YouTube video. You know, I see numbers and comments, and I try to engage with them in comments.
I think kind of the thing changed a little bit. At the beginning, when you're doing YouTube, you're kind of becoming, or like YouTube, whatever, you're becoming an influencer. And that word changed to a content creator. And I think that's a better word because you're actually creating something of value. And you're becoming known, I guess, not famous, because it's not like things are more adaptable now. It's not like TV or movies or whatever, you know. So I understand what you mean in terms of like, okay, you're doing this because it's a job, and because you're entertaining people. Yeah, and it's not for the.
But there's the thing: are you bringing something to the table? Are you bringing something of value?
Yeah.
And like, is TikTok and Reels of something of value for a finger? So yeah.
A lot of waste of time though. Like you know,
No.
these 1 minute videos, it wastes a lot of time. People would immediately take it as like, oh, it's not going to spend much time. It's like a few scrolls, but then like you've been scrolling for the whole hour, right?
Yeah.
That's addictive.
I think even, I mean, I'm not sure about Reels, but TikTok is changing a little bit. It's becoming more, like I watch my news from TikTok. It's fast paced, like a 2-minute video, and you get like the news of the day. So things are changing, but still, you know, you don't want to waste your time watching dance videos.
Okay, so we have reached to the end of the episode 4, and then we would like to leave the last moment to you if there's anything you would like to share to the people, the audience, and also if you have a quote in mind, this is the time to share.
Yeah. No, I was just Mongolia is a beautiful country, and you shouldn't come here in Mongolia and try to live like a Westerner or live a Western life. Get into it. Get into the culture. See things from a different perspective, you know, and you can have a lot more fun in Mongolia. But yeah.
All right.
Before your last quote, what's your favorite vodka?
My favorite vodka.
A local one, you mean? Right?
Yeah, I would say Chinggis.
Chinggis.
And what was your favorite Mongolian word? Pev?
Piveno.
Piveno. What's your favorite beer here?
My favorite beer, what would be? Well, not the local ones. The imported ones are better.
Imported.
Okay.
But otherwise, Gobi's okay.
Yeah. And give us your last. Give us a quote. Give us something to put out there.
No, just enjoy every day for what it is. Enjoy every moment, because you don't know when it's going to be your last.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Ashley.
much.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the episode 4. We had Ashley on our podcast. It was a great talk. And don't forget to subscribe. It wouldn't cost you anything, but it helps a lot to us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.